All right, what's good, ladies and gentlemen? So I'm doing better. For those who haven't watched my previous videos, I've been fighting a sickness for the last week. Actually, it's been over a week now. Doing better, getting my energy back. Still have a little bit here. So yeah, I got my water because I've gotten sick. My throat gets dry quickly, which then makes me cough. But anyway, we're here for Gladiator 2, a movie that actually I've been looking forward to seeing. Been having mixed feelings with it myself. If you see my reactions to the trailer, to the movie trailer, I said that. I said I have a mixed bag because, in my opinion, some movies need to just stay as one. Joker is an example of that. Joker 1 is good, then the second one came out, and it makes me question why did they even think about it, even though, we know why. But Gladiator is one of those movies too. Classic Gladiator. The writing, everything. Shout out Russell Crowe, everybody. That whole movie still stands to this day. And the question is, well, there's two quick questions that I want to answer that I was asked about this movie. One, is it worth seeing in theaters? And two, compared to the first one, how does it hold? Should it be its own? Or should have been his own movie, saying like they should have just started over with Gladiator and make its own story or whatever? Or, is it good enough to be a continuation? First question. Yes, in my opinion, it was a very entertaining, well casted, well acted, great situation moments movie. And I believe it is worth the price of admission. Matinee. Let me say that. It's worth price of admission for matinee. I'm gonna start saying that. Some movies I believe is not worth seeing in theaters. Some I think it is, and some I believe it is if you go see that matinee. So whatever thing you have, whatever their matinee price is, I will go see Gladiator for that. And I'll explain more of my feelings toward the movie in a second. But the second question was, should it have been its own, or should it have been something connected to Gladiator 1? I believe this movie would have been better if it was its own plot, own connections, everything. It has nothing to do with Russell Crowe's movie, and I'll get into that in a minute. Yeah, there were some moments I'm like, I wish that never happened because it kind of messes up the first one, but not too much to where I was like, oh, this movie's terrible. Oh my goodness, no, So yes, let me answer that. Yes, it's worth seeing, but have your expectations low if you're when it comes to comparing it to the first one. The first one still is better in a big way. Actually, I'll get into the details in a second. But yeah, the first one is going to be compared, and that's one thing. I can't remember who said it, but in the movie, someone who made the movie, I believe, said that I wish people didn't compare it to the first one. Well, you shouldn't have made the second one in connection to the first one then. If you do that, people are going to compare. And you have every right to compare. I mean, we're the viewers. We can compare when you call it Gladiator 2 in connection to the first one. So, comparing it, the first one is still a lot better. Writing, a lot of things. I'll break that down in a second. So, yes, to answer those questions. Now, my likes and dislikes with the movie. Like I said before, the cast was very well acted. They did well with the script they was given. And the reason I bring up the script is because I'll bring that up in a second. But yes, the one person I was questioning in this movie when I saw the trailer, I'm like, does he fit this kind of movie? Was Pedro Pascal. I know some people said Denzel. I don't understand why. Denzel acted his butt off. Actually, he stole the show every time he was on screen. That man can adjust to every scene, every type of movie that he's in. Shout out to him. I was never the big, I'm not like a huge Denzel fan. I love the movies that he's in, but you know how some people, they're like Denzel, wherever he's in, I like. I'm not that kind of person, but I do. That brother, yes. Any movie it seems like any role he plays, he goes all in, and it works. And I think his role in this movie worked really well. But back to Pedro Pascal, in the beginning, I was like, I don't know if he'll fit in a Gladiator role. And to be real, he did a good job. Now, when I say these actors did the best they could with what they worked with, the script doesn't fit too well for a great film. And I'll break that down in a second when I finish my cast. When I finish talking about the cast. So yeah, I'm so glad Pedro Pascal did a good job. He is a really good actor. I wouldn't say he's like one of the greats, but I see why he gets the work that he does because he did very well. I'm just gonna keep it at that. I'm glad that the questions I had about him became invalid. He did a good job, and I'm glad that he was in the movie, and I see why they hired him. So anyway, everybody else though, main actor, I can't remember his real name, and my phone is not with me, but you know what I'm talking about, one who played Lucius, who was in the first one. Different actor, but you know the character. Denzel, like I said, that brother, every scene he's in, he stole the show. The camera was on him. You know, shout out to him. That brother puts 110% in every role he's in from what I've seen. And this one worked very well. I think his placement in Gladiator worked pretty well. And I've heard, excuse me. Sorry, hold on. There we go. But he had a mixed bag with some people with him being in this movie. And I don't know why. I don't know what Denzel has done in his movie career where you would question this. You know, that brother gives 110%, and his role, the role that he played, the character that he played, big thumbs up. I believe, in my opinion, if I had to choose one character that was the best out of them all, it had to be Denzel's character. And he wasn't even the main one, but when he was on screen, you thought he was. So, anyway, yes, so casting, very well. Now, let me get to something that was a dislike. The writing. And I'm not saying the writing was terrible. I'm not saying it was like, ugh. It was just very mid. And if you know the first Gladiator, you know one of the things that made that movie a classic was the writing. The writing in the first one, I mean, my father still does this line. He loved Gladiator. He's the one who introduced me to it. He loves that one line where Marcus Aurelius was talking to not Lucius, but his son, Joaquin Phoenix, in the first one. Your failure as a son is my failure as a father. Like, my dad loves playing that role, but the writing, the emotion behind the writing in the first one, I mean, I could name more, even more and even better moments in Gladiator than the one I just acted there. The writing in that movie was top tier. I will see you again, but not yet. And the actors gave the emotion. Great writing with great actors made that movie phenomenal. Script alone. I'm not even talking about everything else. And when it comes to this movie, it was like the script was so mid that actors had to give it 110% to give situations and moments in this movie some more flavor. Or else the movie would have been very bland because there were, like, I'll go back to Denzel. He acted his butt off and sold that script, the script that he was given. Because if I can honestly say, if I saw someone else play his role, you know, I don't know if it would have connected as well as it did if Denzel did it. That's why I said the actors. That's why I give him a lot of credit. Pedro Pascal, the main actor, they put their heart and soul in this movie, and you had to with the mid script that they had. And like I said, the script wasn't terrible, but when you compare it to the first one, which us as viewers are going to do, is Gladiator 2. I can't understand how these people are like, don't compare it. What the heck? Like, that makes no sense. And I'm going to compare the writing. The writing had no, I sat there and it had no, like, I felt nothing with it. You know, it was just like, oh, okay. It took the actors to be, you know, really selling it, to be like, I see you, Denzel or Pedro or whoever else. But the script, this is the best way to put it. The script does not stand on its own. Where in Gladiator 1, the script could stand on its own, and then the acting of Joaquin Phoenix and the father of Marcus Aurelius, Russell Crowe, added into it, blew it out of the park. Where the Gladiator 2 was like, the script was, but to keep us from sitting there like, I'm bored, the actors did a heck of a job to where you still watching. So it was watchable, but that's why we got to give a lot of credit to the actors because they sold the roles well. So yeah, script very mid. And this is another part that I think that was very mid, a dislike, was the Coliseum battles. It was good, entertaining, enough. I'll put it that way. But comparing it to the first one, again, it doesn't hold its own. And to be real, the second one has more to their Coliseum battles. Like, they had some CGI battles and stuff like that. And, you know, like animals, and Coliseum is in the, like, on war, like it's water, and they fighting on a ship and stuff like that. that was cool and all, but just because you make it bigger doesn't make it better. Oh, Gladiator 2 was a smaller scale, but it had a better impact. This is a great example of just because you make it bigger does not make it better. Sometimes simplicity, small, works a whole lot better than the grand. You know, it was a sight to see, but you know, it wasn't. You know, after it was over, I didn't remember it. Where in the first Gladiator, I remember every battle of that one. So yeah, a good thing I want to now talk about is timing with the movie. The movie is about 2.5 hours, and I didn't feel it. I'm so glad it was not stall moments. That was one thing I was wondering. I'm like, hopefully, you know, especially when you hear the script, you're like, hopefully this movie doesn't drag, and you just sitting there like, oh, okay, here we go. Now we get into something. No, Gladiator does well at keeping it going, even with all the different actors and their different situations. It was always something going. Pedro Pascal had a moment with his wife. Then it got to the main actor. Then it went to Denzel. Then it went to the twin emperors, which I'll get into them in a second. It kept flowing, and it flowed in the right way. Because sometimes just because it flowed doesn't mean it does it right. Here they did it right, where it was like, oh, we're near the end. Like I had a moment where I was surprised. I was like, oh, we're near the end. How long was this movie? Oh, 2.5 hours. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good feeling. And like I'm a fan of long movies. I like 2.5, 3 hour movies, especially with the prices they're charging for these films. So I don't mind it as long as you do it right. If you can't do it right for 2.5 hours, then shorten it. But anyway, so yeah, that was a big up. I will say this. I've heard some people was talking about the twin emperors and say that they were like they don't know why they was there. In my opinion, I thought they did a good job with, like I said, with what they was working with the script, but their characters fit what the movie wanted them to be portrayed at very well, and I think the actors portrayed them well. So I didn't have an issue with them. The twins, I thought, did their job. You know, spoiled, brat, dumb, makes you question how did they get in the seat of royalty like that. You know, being manipulated by, well, I almost spoiled the movie, being manipulated by certain people. I think it worked well for what they was written for. So, and shout out, I don't know who the actors were, but I think they did those roles very well. They wasn't Commodus from Gladiator 1. Like I said, if you compare villains, good guys, all that stuff from the second one to the first one was going to win every time. The only one I could see that could stand on his own in the second one and it could work, he could work in the first one, is Denzel. That was it. That's how good his character was. But the movie as a whole, if you going in there expecting to get the same feeling you did on the first one, don't hold your breath. And maybe you did, and that's good for you. But as a person who loves that movie, Gladiator, watched it multiple times, even looked at it again before I saw the second one. Yeah. So, but for what it was given, I think the twins did well. Like I said, the casting did very well. Now, I do have a question. I'm going to do this without spoiling. The first and second act made sense for the most part. It was the third act, the ending, the third act and the ending that was like, I had questions. I'm like, huh? Why would he go there? Why would he die? Like, he's dead? Like, there was no weight to this death. Like, there's a certain character you feel for him because he wants the best for Rome and all that stuff. And I'm being very vague. If you saw the movie, you know who I'm talking about. But he wants the best for Rome. And in my opinion, his death was not warranted. It was like, and I didn't have any weight to it. It was like, they didn't build enough for this character for that situation to happen and for you to feel some type of way about it. You're just like, oh, okay. I don't think they built enough for that moment. And it also raised the question of why. And it was another death that I was like, huh. Okay. And there was a battle at the end that the main character was fighting against that made me question, why would a certain villain put himself in that situation? You know, he had things going for him, and it was like this brother rolled to his death. Maybe y'all can answer that for me. Don't do it in the comments, well, I don't know how else you would say it. I guess you could put in the comments, just say spoiler at the top, just so anybody who looks at it doesn't get spoiled. And if they read it, if they get spoiled after reading that, then that's on them. But Let me know, why did the villain choose to put himself in that situation when he had the seat? I don't know. It just happened like that too. And it was like, oh, okay, and maybe I'm missing something, but that was a little questionable situation. Because if I was a villain, and this certain villain was very smart, but that was the one moment I'm like, he didn't think that one through, did he? Why would he fight this person? He is not winning this, no matter how the script was making him look good for a little bit. You know, so it was just some questionable moments, but like I said, it didn't mess up the flow of the movie. Overall, the movie was enjoyable. I had a good time. I'm glad that it wasn't. I'm glad I'm not on here saying how, see, this is why it just needs to be the first one and leave it alone. As much as I feel that, and I do agree that Gladiator should have just stayed his own movie, I don't feel it the same way I do with Joker. I'm not sitting here like, I wish Gladiator 2 was never made. It was just horrible. And what was the point? And this and that. And this and that. Even though there was some, like, especially one moment that meant a lot at the ending of Gladiator 1. But then seeing this movie, it made that moment like, and even though they explained why it happened, which I appreciate, it was still like, yeah, but come on. No, you know. But it didn't mess it up too much where I'm like, you know, was it like that? You know, it does end kind of abruptly. Like, I wish they explained a little bit more, like, what happens after, even though we could put our brains together and know. But, yeah, the action was, like I said, was good. It was nothing like, I didn't sit there like, dang, you know. It wasn't no shocking deaths. I could tell they lowered the violence in this one compared to the first one. You know, it wasn't no moments like how in the first one with that lady, she went like, into that cherry whip and went like cut her half her body. It was nothing like that. They really lowered that's fine. This movie don't have to have violence like that. But yeah, I believe it's a good viewing. Matinee though, matinee. But I'm gonna stop talking. I think I talked long enough. I can feel it in my throat. But yes, I enjoyed it. Shout out to Denzel. I ain't gonna front that brother. I don't know how much longer he's gonna be active, but that dude can still do his thing. So shout out to him. Shout out to everybody. I think everybody did a good job, especially with what they was working with. I will say, when you have a good movie from before, like Gladiator 1, with the writing and all that other stuff, let me just speak on the writing. Make sure you double, triple check the script. Because if the actors did not do what they needed to do, this movie would have been very dry. That's why I said shout out to that. The actors deserve a raise because the actors made a mid script look better than it actually was. And I'm that kind of viewer when I watch movies. I listen to the script, how is, you know, like this. I love that kind of stuff. I don't look at just action and view. I listen to how the writing and all that stuff. And honestly, that started after watching Gladiator 1. And from then on, I pay attention to the script, listen to it. So next time when you do a movie like that, you gotta do better with the script. But it was enough. I don't like saying that though. Like, oh, it did all right. It was enough. I want to be like, man, that was good. That writing and then the delivery. But no, it's like the writing's like, but the delivery was strong. At least the delivery worked. You know. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you feel about it. And yeah, I'm gonna work on this throat of mine. Keep drinking some water. And yeah, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I gotta now that Arcane is finished, I'm gonna watch all this whole season straight through and give my whole review, because I've been waiting. I didn't want to watch Arcane until it was finished because I want to binge watch it straight through. I might just do that tomorrow Sunday, and then I'll give my review. But yes, big Arcane fan here. That's why, as much as I've been wanting to wait to watch the whole thing straight through, it's been hurting, and I've been staying away from people who are talking about it. But it's been hurting to not watch it because I've been wanting to, but I wanted to wait, and I avoided anybody who was talking about it. But anyway, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Yeah. Tell me what you thought about the movie if you saw it. I'll see you later.